This might be kind of hard to tell the full story walking through the kampung, but I'll try. So how did I meet Felix? Well, I met Felix a year and a half ago when he helped get me from Jakarta to Bali during the height of the pandemic in 2021. But that's not really where the story begins. Made out of bamboo?
This is the
bamboo and wood?
traditional house for Bogor.
Okay.
I mean the Bogor because I don't know exactly, but this is the house is
Traditional,
very traditional.
Indonesian home?
Nick, come here, Nick.
I can come in?
Nick, come here.
Okay. The story will continue in a little bit. If you can see in here.
Misteri.
Kenapa?
This is house Misteri. Your papa ya? Bapak ya?
Iya.
Your sin dari tahun berapa?
Ini.
Bapak? Ya.
Tahu tahun berapa?
Kira-kira?
Bapak kan 80-an umurnya.
80 years old.
This house?
Yeah,
80 years old?
80 years old.
Incredible.
Yeah.
How many people live here now?
Look here for the
The termites?
The termite,
Yeah, the termites are biting it.
Yeah.
Wow. Orang tinggal di sini?
Tinggal di sini masih kan?
Iya
Yeah,
masih.
yeah.
Masih.
Ya. Hey, ini siapa? Ini siapa ini?
Feels like you're gonna walk through the bamboo down here. Hello. Apa kabar? Baik. Lato. Bisa?
Belajar.
I don't think it goes in your mouth. You don't chew on it. Thank you. Bisa?
Lato. Coba lato main. Bisa coba? Coba. Siapa yang bisa lato? Kamu bisa? Mak nih. Nih, this is mak.
Emak.
Mak. Udah tua.
Emak.
Iya mama. Aduh, mama cina.
Ooh, she's good.
Cina dede.
Much more talented than me. Hey, you just gonna chew on it?
Jangan dimakan, ge.
Bukan makanan. Bukan makanan. Yeah.
This is also the traditional
Traditional kampung home?
Nah ya, sederhana ya.
Yeah.
Sederhana.
Probably very old too.
And you know the lantai still tanah now.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
just the ground, the hard mud almost. A lot of houses have these little sitting areas outside. Because what you'll notice in the kampung, people just hang out outside, just chill out. Bisa? Bisa kah? Bisa? No.
Nggak terlalu.
Okay. Terima kasih. Okay. All right, I'm gonna try to continue the story. Yeah, just propped up on the cinder blocks there. Not cinder blocks, but cement blocks. Wow. Okay. So, wow. To tell the full story, I have to go back all the way to early 2021. About 6 months before I came to Indonesia. That's where the story begins. That's where we're going to start. At that time... Hello. So 6 months before I came to Japan, I met a couple in a cafe. I met an Indonesian couple named Raina and Ricky. I went to go have a hamburger, and I saw this couple that was clearly not Japanese sitting there eating some delicious looking dessert pancakes with chocolate and fruit and whipped cream, and I was just like, oh, how are those pancakes? And they're like, oh, they're delicious. And anyways, we got to know each other. Turns out that Ricky, he was in Gunma, he was in Japan going to school, and Raina, the girl, she had just moved there to support her husband, to support her boyfriend at the time, and we became friends. And it was at that time that I already knew that I was going to come to Indonesia. So we had a very early common interest, so to speak, and I was asking him about Indonesia and whatnot, and so in Indonesia, since they didn't have a car, they couldn't get it around very well, I would take them around to different places. I would take them up into the mountains. I think it was the first time they ever saw snow was with me. I took them up in the mountains. I went snowboarding, and they just like walked around the town in a beautiful place called Kusatsu. And they just walked around the town, and I snowboarded that day. But that was good enough for them. They're like, yeah, just you do your thing, Nick. We just want to walk around a beautiful, beautiful town called Kusatsu. And yeah. And so that would be part one. Part one of the story, meeting a couple named Raina and Ricky. Hello. Nice to meet you. Hello. Nama saya Nick. Nama saya Nick. Hello. No? Oh. Hello. Hello. Nice to meet you. Okay, so now that we've established that I know an Indonesian couple named Raina and Ricky, 6 months later, I moved to Japan. I'm sorry. 6 months later, I come to Indonesia, and that was not really the smartest time to come to Indonesia. It was at the height of the pandemic. Jakarta was in the red zone, but I said, I don't care, I'm coming. And well, at that time, you had to do a quarantine before they would let you out into the country. And so at that time I think it was a 6-day, 5-night quarantine in Jakarta. And I came to Jakarta, like I said, at the height of the pandemic, and during my quarantine, I think maybe the first or second day, Indonesia changed the rules and said, in order to go from island to island, or in order to take a flight, you have to have at least 1 or 2 vaccines, I think, and you have to have a special visa. And well, at that time, I didn't have either one of those. I wasn't vaccinated, and I didn't have the Kitas visa. Hello. Hello. Ooh. Did you say these are the special banana leaves?
Oh, no.
No,
this is fruit.
Okay, but there's some banana over there, right? Some banana trees. And so
This is a banana for only leaf.
Banana trees, but only for the leaves? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I find myself in my quarantine hotel kind of freaking out, thinking, oh my gosh, I am stuck in Jakarta at the height of the pandemic, and I can't go anywhere. My plan wasn't to go to Bali first. My plan was actually to do what I did last year and like slowly go to Bali. But since the cases of COVID were skyrocketing, I thought, okay, maybe it's best that I go straight to Bali. And so I reached out to Raina, and during this whole time I was, in close contact with her, and we would message each other back and forth. And it turns out that Raina's father used to work at Garuda Airlines. That's right, Felix?
Yes, right.
Raina's father, not anymore though, right?
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. And Felix used to work at Garuda Airlines. And so Raina's like, okay, don't worry. We're going to help you get on a flight and go to Bali. So I'm like, cool, okay, I'm down with that. I think in Indonesia, it's one of those things like anything is possible maybe in Indonesia, right? Anything's possible, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe, you know, with the right connections, I can get on a flight and I can just go to Bali and I can, you know, be somewhere that's not as populated, and I can just ride out the end of the pandemic, or like ride out the surge in cases or whatever. And so Raina tells me that there's going to be a guy that's going to come pick you up at your hotel, and he's going to take you to the airport. And that's where Felix comes in. Felix was the guy who picks me up at my hotel and is like, I'm Raina's father's friend. Let's go to the airport. We're going to get you on a flight to Bali. All right, so I've been picked up. They're taking me to the airport.
Yeah.
Hopefully things work out.
Yeah.
So who is Felix? Felix, you're Felix?
I am Felix.
You're Felix, okay.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking, I'm feeling good at this point. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, it's him, and what was the other guy's name? The leather jacket?
Oh, Darman.
Darman. So there's Darman. So there's Felix and Darman. We're going to the airport, and I'm thinking, we're getting out of Jakarta. Let's do it. We go to the airport, and I think the first thing Felix tells me to do, he says, I want you to go stand in that line where they're pretty much checking to see if you have a vaccine paper or not, or certificate. And I'm like, okay, so I stand in there, and sure enough, the officer looks at me, he's like, okay, where are your vaccine papers? And I'm like, I don't have any. And he's like, well, you can't fly. So I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, okay. Felix is way over there, just sitting there. I go back to Felix, he's like, oh, how'd it go? And I was like, what do you mean how'd it go? They asked me for my vaccine papers and I don't have those. And he's like, okay, let's go to the customer service office. And so you told me to tell everything. I'm going to tell everything. And so we go to the customer service office, and at this point there's tons of other foreigners who are pissed off and upset because, well, they can't fly. They probably booked flights and they can't get to where they want to go. And so Felix is like, oh, just go up to the customer service rep, and you got to be angry, and you got to tell them that they said it was okay for you to fly, and that try to convince them to let you fly. And I'm like, this is not going to work. This is not a good strategy. And so at that point, my hope of getting on a flight was slowly going down. I was thinking, no, man, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. But of course, the customer service rep was like, sorry, the rules have changed. There's nothing I can do about it. But eventually, Dede comes around, and some other workers from Garuda Airlines get involved. And I think Raina's dad finally gets a hold of somebody at the airport, and hello, apa kabar? Baik. And so finally more people at the airport get involved, kind of, in Dede. There was Felix. I felt like there was 3 or 4 people, trying to get me on this flight. And fast forward about an hour, we finally settled on, okay, they talked to somebody in Bali, right, Felix?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So if there's anything that you don't want me to say, let me know. Anyway, so they get a hold of somebody from Bali and said, okay, well, if Nick comes to Bali and he goes and gets his vaccine right away, then he can come. We'll, sign a little waiver, and, he can be on his way. And so that's what I did. They put a piece of paper in front of me that said, whenever I get to Bali, I will go to the pharmacy immediately and get the vaccine. Sure, why not? Sign that piece of paper. I want to get out of here. And so that's what happened. I signed that piece of paper, and then I think I'm scot-free. I think I'm good. I think I'm going to Bali. I thank everyone that helped me out. I go through security. I'm sitting by my gate, my terminal, and they go, okay, we're now boarding the flight to Bali, blah, blah, blah. Like, make sure you have your boarding pass, your passport, and your vaccine papers. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, no. Because at that point, I'm by myself, right? And so I go up to the front where the guy's checking, and he scans my passport. He scans my boarding pass, and he's like, okay, passport. And he looks at me, he goes, vaccine papers? And I was like, I don't have them. And he looks at the computer, and he just says, oh, okay. And he just waved me on. Because I think maybe there was a note by my name. I don't know. There was something that said, okay, if this guy comes through, just let him on the plane. And so that's what, that's how I got on the plane. What are we looking at here?
This is cassava.
Yeah, this is cassava. So you eat the root, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cassava, nice. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, at least I'm on the flight, and I'm going to Bali. I'm getting out of Jakarta. This is great. And I mean, I was in quarantine for 6 days before that, so I knew I was pretty. I mean, I knew I wasn't carrying anything, right? I knew I wasn't sick, because after you get out of quarantine, they won't let you out unless you test negative, right? And so I wasn't worried about that. But anyways, I thought maybe when I get to Bali, they might check again, but they didn't do that. And so I made it to Bali safely. And, you know, I tried to fulfill my duties. You know, they said to go to a pharmacy, a specific pharmacy in Bali, and get the vaccine. And so I did that. The next day I go to this pharmacy, and they kind of looked at me like, what are you doing here? They said, sorry, you know, we don't have any vaccines, or we don't have any extra vaccines to give you right now. Maybe come back tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And so I'm like, okay. I show up the next day at 11 o'clock, and they look at me kind of like, oh crap, he's here again. So I talked to one of the doctors or the pharmacists, and he's like, look, we just don't have the vaccines in store right now, or in stock right now. So we don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, give us your number, and maybe we can call you or whenever we have them. Hey, Batman! Nice. And so, anyways, I kind of gave up on it. I was like, well, I figure I'm in Bali. I made it here safely. It doesn't feel like they're too strict about it. I don't think anyone's hunting me down, making sure I got the vaccine. And so I just kind of, didn't go back to that pharmacy because I figured they weren't, they didn't have their stuff together. And so I waited until around September. I went there in July. Around September, I think, I was able to get my Moderna shot. I think in October I got my second Moderna. And so I eventually got vaccinated in Bali, but it took a while. It wasn't immediate like they said they wanted me to, or I agreed to. I tried to fulfill my end of the deal, but so that's the story of how I met Felix. He's picked me up from the airport, and he helped me get on a flight to escape Jakarta. And it's all thanks to Raina and Ricky. It's all, if I didn't meet them 6 months before I went to Indonesia,
maybe you were stuck.
I'll be stuck, My videos would look a lot different. It would be a completely different story if I never said hello to Raina and Ricky in that cafe.
Quarantine.
Yeah, I might have to stay in Jakarta. I don't know. It would look a lot different. And it's kind of crazy because I met Raina and Ricky, and I met Felix. Felix is now doing business with my friends Raina, her brother Kazu in Bali. They were able to link up because of the situation I was put in here, and so it's crazy how things work out that way. It's crazy. So, did I leave anything out? That's it, right?
Good.
That's it. So Felix came to the rescue. He came to the rescue and got me on that flight to Bali. And then since then, we've just been good buddies. Yeah. Whenever I come to Jakarta, we hang out. Kind come check out his water and go eat his food. He brings me to Bogor. So since then, we've kept in touch, and we're friends now. So that is the full story. And I didn't want to tell the full story a long time ago because, well, you know, I got on a flight probably when I shouldn't have. And so I asked Felix, I was like, is it okay if I tell this story? It's okay?
Okay.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So that's the story of how I met Felix.
Yeah.
Woo. Ada apa?
Apa itu? Agar. Agar? Ya. Giratin siya. Giratin. Ini
Enak?
saya traktir. Berapa semua? Saya traktir.
Oh iya iya.
Berapa satunya?
1.004, 1.000 biar dibeli baju. 1.004.
Oh. 10.000 berapa tuh?
Jadi 10 bungkus.
Iya, kasih berapa? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hah?
Ini mah udah beli.
Udah? Oh ya udah. Kasih aja Pak semuanya. Ayo, tos. Ajil nih, Ajil nih.
Iya.
Okay.
Jalan.
Nice.
Bang, beli dong. Ini apa nih?
Itu kacang.
Kacang.
Kacang ya. Berapa kacang ini nih?
2.000.
Beli 10.000 dah.
Aduh.
Okay.
Enggak bisa.
Oh no.
Salah. Tah gitu.
Must be balance.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to balance.
Must
Okay.
be balance.
Hey.
Hey.
I need the horn.
Oh, dahon. Tidur.
No.
Oh, ini tokonya.
Get your peanuts. Get your candy. I got a new job. Kamu lapar? Kamu beli?
Kamu lapar.
Kamu lapar? Oh, sudah. I actually think I showed you this in the first video a year ago. This guy's a goat farmer. Kambing.
Ya kambing ya.
Ooh.
Kambing.
Ah. Yeah. Sate kambing.
Iya, kambing. Kau kambing ya. Kau kambing ya.
Does he sell the kambing?
Yeah.
How much can he get for one kambing?
Ini burung nih.
Mat, berapa harganya, Mat?
Apa?
Satu berapa?
Yang pada 3 juta yang
3 million rupiah.
3 million rupiah for one
Ya,
for one goat?
Ya.
Okay, about $200. No, 3 million. $200? Yeah, $200 for one goat. That's good.
Pulang malam, Bos.
Jokowi.
Kenapa?
All right, let's see what these guys have been working on all day. Hobbies?
This simple. This is only with clay only. Kayu
Nice.
mana, Om?
Okay, yeah.
If not used like this, simple.
Nice.
After that, we again so the stick.
All the way over here too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
More
Ah.
comfort, huh?
Uh-huh. You want to play a game?
Okay.
Want to play?
Okay.
Okay. Let's play a game. So, I played Felix yesterday. He beat me 4 out of 5 games,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
I beat him the first game. He acts like he doesn't know how to play. He's actually really good.